This is Barbara Barragan-Perea with Delta Flows, a radio show by the Voice of Stockton and Restore the Delta. This is the weekly radio show where we discuss everything Delta related: the environment, water management, water quality, farming, history and culture, public events, recreation, Delta food, and the arts. Tune into Delta Flows on KXVS, the Voice of Stockton, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at KXVS Radio.
KXVS 92.1 coming soon. KXVS.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS, the Voice of Stockton, or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff. KXVS, the Voice of Stockton. It's time for Walk the Talk with your host, Jim T. Chong, the Wokstar.
Well, welcome, and we want to go ahead and just celebrate the fact that we are going to be entering into another year. That is the 2018th year of this great nation, plus or minus a few years. Depending on when AD and BC take place, but you know, as we think about this past year, think about the things that you have achieved, the things you wanted to accomplish, but what you want to have happening going into 2018. And today we have a special guest here. He has served our country, and his name is Gerrard White. You'll be learning a little bit more about what he's done for our country and why we have to be so thankful for in this great nation. And of course, we are broadcasting live from KXVS. This is the Voice of Stockton off the Miracle Mile in Stockton City, California. This is the day after Christmas, the 26th. And so as we go ahead and celebrate coming off of Christmas, we can now launch and look into the next year and see what it has in store for us. Finally, we're going to be playing a song called Agents for Progress. This was a 2014 theme for Healings in Motion, a local endeavor here in Stockton, California. That is a 10-plus year nonprofit dedicated to stroke awareness, brain health, and also supporting those that take care of other people, primarily caregivers. So as we continue this year, I want you to think about the different relationships that you have built. I want you to think about just the people that you have met and what this last year has meant to you, and also what this next year coming up will mean to others that are around you and the difference you will make here. But as we go ahead and move forward, we look at America as a nation, and of course, to live strong America is what we are all about, helping strengthen our country. And we have with us Gerrard White, who has been a retired veteran, but also someone that has served our country faithfully. Gerrard, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all yourself and your listeners.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you as well. And you know, this is an interesting year. 2017 has been a pretty interesting year for a variety of reasons. Of course, we've seen the turnover of leadership in our country with President Trump, and also just the different things that have happened. We talk about the hurricanes that have happened nationwide, the fires that have happened here in California specifically, and the things that make us realize that the things that we can focus on that are most important in life and to us just as people in general. And so I want to first off thank you for serving our country, Gerrard. And if you can go ahead and just share with us basically what branch of service did you serve for our country, and how long did you serve?
I was in the United States Army. I actually got drafted in 1972. And I did 6 years active duty, and then I was in the Army Reserves for another 17 years.
So you've put in a few miles in terms of the road here of our nation. So thank you so much for your service. And I want to go ahead and acknowledge those that have served our country to be able to give us the freedom that we enjoy here today. And so With what has been going on in our nation here, we talked a little bit about just our country in prior shows. I just want to go ahead and just ask you, as somebody that served our country for literally a few decades here, how do you feel like our country is doing just as a whole? You know, we have a new presidency. Of course, there's been a lot of different discussions nationwide. There's been a lot of opposing viewpoints. But as we come together as a nation, how do you feel like we're doing overall?
I think we're making progress. You know, our country's been around a long time. It's still the only democracy where, you know, people are allowed to come and go and say as they please. And if you're talking from a military perspective, I still have friends that have children that are both enlisted and officers, and they feel the future is very bright for the military. And of course, I don't know of anybody, rich or poor, doesn't like to have more money in their pocket.
Yeah, I think that is very, very true. There's a lot of opportunities here in our nation, and actually we have a section that we'll be highlighting here as well. We're debuting in Sacramento as well, called A Side Hustle in America. It's all about the secondary supporting the primary, and that's what this nation is all about. It's a land of opportunity. And, you know, going into this year, what do you foresee will be happening this coming year for our nation as a whole?
Well, I don't have the crystal ball, unfortunately, but I just think we're going to see a lot more prosperity. And speaking just from a veteran side, I think we're going to see a lot more things change within the Veterans Administration, because that's my area of focus, pretty much working with veterans and talking to veterans, especially when it comes to certain issues that they have.
You know, with everything that's happening right now, I think that as the nation as a whole, we might have lost a little sight of the things that really matter most in terms of freedom that we have here. One thing I have seen, though, is I've seen a lot more flags that have been posted outside. What have you seen? And just through the eyes of a veteran, what have you seen in terms of our nation, the focus, and just to focus on the things that matter most to us as a nation?
I think, our country, it's pretty diverse. It's a melting pot. And, whether it's good times or bad times, if something happens to the nation as a whole, the people come together. And I think if that's anything that I'm most proud of, is we are diverse. We have our differences. We come from all over the globe. But when it comes to America, it's America strong, and that's what I'm most proud of our country is the people and the gravitas that each one of us have. No matter what our day is like, what our schedule is like, we all become Americans in that moment, and that's what I'm most proud of.
I love the way you say that. Now, with just our international relations, in terms of how things are being handled, what are your feelings and thoughts about that?
Well, I'll tell you, that's very interesting. That's the geopolitical side of it all. And like I used to say in the military, and many military men or women will know what I'm about to say, is I always used to say, sorry, sir, that's above my pay grade. But since you've asked me, I think, for so many years, and I mean many years, everything has been passed along. It's okay. And, we do so much for the world that what do we get back in return? And I think we're starting to see slightly a little bit more respect for who we are and what we do for other nations. Not of course.
Now it's interesting. Some people might argue that only from a perspective of the fact that there are some interesting relationships that have been formed just politically. Now again, I don't get into the politics of it very often, but some might say that maybe some of our diplomatic relationships are not are not really on par with the objectives of our nation.
Well, again, things take time to develop. I mean, we're not talking about something that's so simple. These are very complex issues because remember, every one of these countries have their own ideas and their own philosophies. But I've always told my friends this: I don't know anybody personally who has left America to go live somewhere else.
Well, there were a lot of people that made the claim that if President Trump got elected, they were going to leave the country. To the best of my knowledge, they're still here, right?
Well, you know what? God bless them. That means they're paying taxes.
Hey, that's really good. That's really good. Well, it's good to have sometimes these candid talks about just what is happening, the good, the bad, sometimes the ugly, because you can't really beautify something unless you acknowledge that, hey, there is a problem there. And Governor Don, you always have some great opinions about different issues here. And how do you feel like our nation's being perceived as a whole?
Well,
I think that the nation is actually being perceived quite well. You have to, like Truman said, walk softly and carry a big stick. We're carrying a big stick. Just to give you one example, a year or so ago, I heard a general on TV. I don't know what persuasion he is, what political view, but he said it's going to take years to defeat ISIS in the Middle East. Well, it's been less than 11 months since the election, and ISIS has been taken out of Iraq. They're still in Syria. We went to the Philippines. We sent special forces over there, and that has become extremely quiet down in the south. So once again, we lead. We don't always do everything right, okay? It's not always right, and it's not always by the playbook. But, I always say if we can bring happiness and joy and freedom to one person, then we've accomplished our mission.
Now, let me go ahead and turn this over. Governor Don actually is the person that helps manage and pulls together this station, KXVS. Governor Don, what are your thoughts about everything, just in terms of what's going on in the leadership of our country, and how are we being perceived out there?
Well, I think that's something that, it depends on the person who you ask, I guess. The general consensus right now in the world, though, if we look at the world view, is that they have lost a lot of confidence in what America's role in this world is. And, some of that, the result of some of that may be good and some of it may be bad. I mean, I do agree that we are kind of overextended in this world as far as militarily. Our military budget is something like more than the next 20 countries combined. But there's a reason for that, too. America never forgot World War II. And so never again will America be on the end where we got to build up to military might. We're always going to be on top. And I'm sure that those that whatever personal opinions we have about the military and in our country, we all do benefit from being, the greatest military power on this planet. But the truth is
Absolutely.
that our world is getting smaller, and we no longer can really separate ourselves. The world for a long time separated the people of America from the policies of America, and that's why terrorism was something that was that happened outside of America. The only terrorism that happened in America before 9/11 was committed by, white nationalists, white supremacists, far right groups. There's been like 0 instances of environmental terror or left-wing terror, but now we have international terrorism right here in this country. And I think the reason is because the world does now kind of associate us with our foreign policy. So I think it's a great a time for America to rethink our foreign policy, to get involved in how we do actually affect other nations, so that we can be the best actor to help the most people in the ways that are best for our country as well. And so, the downside to, upheaval and regime change is there is a lot of confusion, especially on the world stage. But the upside is it gives us an opportunity to decide what kind of country do we really want to be, what kind of effect do we really want to have on this world. And so I think the healthy part of what's happening is that we are having these conversations. And now, you know, these are ideas that were relegated to the back rooms and the smoke rooms and the board rooms. And now it's right here, Main Street America, and we're talking about it. So good for the country as long as we keep the conversation going and we're working towards improvement. The bad, what's happening is a lot of compartmentalism and a lot of ideologies and, you know, acting like there's only two sides to an issue. There's many sides to this issue. And if we work at it with the intention of actually making improvements instead of being divided along party lines or ethnic lines or racial lines or religious lines, gender lines, if we think about it like Gerrard was saying, you know, the best part of America is that when things get tough, we come together, not we get separated. We come together and figure out solutions. Right now, we got big solutions on the horizon, militarily, economically, environmentally, socially, and we can do great if we work together.
That's really good. Well, coming together is what this nation is all about. This is known as the melting pot of the world. And really, we are built on the foundation of service, and we leave nobody behind, you know, whether they're in the military, out there fighting in the field. And I want to go ahead and just ask you, Gerrard, you know, a lot of times we don't necessarily, well, we actually we don't appreciate the sacrifices that people have made out there on the field. And there are a lot of people that come back if they've been in war, if they've actually had to engage in war, they suffer from PTSD and other things as well. So, Gerrard, I want to go ahead and talk about PTSD because I'm actually with an organization that deals with brain health. That is Healings in Motion. They are a local nonprofit here in Stockton, California, dedicated to stroke awareness and also brain health. But I want to go ahead and ask you at the same time, what is PTSD and how does it affect people coming back from serving our country?
PTSD basically is anything that happens to a person dramatically. It could be a serious car accident. It could be witnessing a death, a shooting, any sort of something that's traumatic, especially when it comes to the military in the field. The very first day that you are actually in any sort of a combat situation, excuse me, it just works on your mind. And then, of course, if you see things that the average person doesn't see, it affects your brain, to the point where you have many cognitive issues. And that's it in a nutshell. I mean, if it's a dramatic experience, it will affect you.
Now, can you go ahead and share with us again, what did you specifically do in the Army for our country? What position did you serve and what did you do?
Well, when I was in the military, I was, excuse me, I got drafted very late, so I did not go to Vietnam. I was actually in a nuclear weapons unit in Europe, but I will tell you this, 90% of the men in my unit had been in Vietnam and had been out in the field. And I can tell you that there were many times when we were out in the field and having a few adult beverages. That's when the stories came out. And, I would just shake my head. And, just listening to these men talk about, their fight and what they went through, not only physically scars, but mental scars.
Now, what did you have to go through, serving our country, just knowing what you know, experiencing what you've experienced? Did you have to wrestle with PTSD? Were you out there on the field directly? Not so much on the field, but my situation was I was diagnosed through the military 14 years ago with depression and anxiety. And they basically said, so much in a war situation, but just being on the field, long hours, that was my experience. And I was diagnosed, like I said, 14 years ago. Wow. Well, I know anything that can remedy just helping people deal with depression and just anxiety is very important. And so I know you've been able to do some great things that have helped you deal with your stress, anxiety, and PTSD. Can you just share some of those things that have helped you?
Yes. Like I said, I was on medication for 14 years, taking the highest dose possible twice a day. And
did we lose you, Gerrard?
I'm sorry.
Hi, Gerrard.
Yeah, yes, I'm sorry. I'm at the VA, and they just called me, and I asked her if she could give me a few minutes.
Okay.
So, but anyway, so I was on medication, and taking 200 milligrams a day, twice a day, with all the side effects. And then one day someone said to me, have you ever thought about drinking coffee to help with your anxiety and your depression? I said, no. I said, I drink coffee. And they said, no, we're talking about coffee that actually has all natural herbs in it. And I said, hey, I'll try anything if I can get off medication. And the person introduced me to something called Energy Mind Coffee. So
Energy Mind Coffee.
Yeah.
That sounds great. I want some Energy Mind coffee.
Yeah.
I think we can use it. We can use it this morning, almost every morning.
So what I did was, being a skeptic, I went ahead and did some research and found out that this coffee has, besides the coffee, it only has two other items in it, and they're both natural herbs that come from southeast India. And so I looked them up. They've been around for thousands of years, and no one had ever put these herbs in another product. So I said, okay. My doctor had always told me you don't want to miss your medication because of the side effects and what have you. So I said, okay, I'm going to go cold turkey. Started on a Monday, did 2 cups a day. By Wednesday, I was feeling better. And October 6th, 2014, I called the VA and I said, cancel all my future visits and cancel my medication. And to this day, I still have the last 60 tabs. And when I talk to people in groups, I always show them, here's the stick of coffee that changed my life completely 3 years ago.
Wow. And I know I saw a testimony of what you did to really highlight just how it's helped you, not just the coffee, but some other things as well. But, if there's anyone that wants to reach you regarding this, is there an email address, or if you don't mind giving out your number, that would be great, especially if they've served,
Correct. Yes, and like I said, my mission ever since I, quote unquote, found the cure for me, if I can help one veteran or anybody get off of medication or get a better night of sleep, like I always tell everybody, this is not a cure-all. Everybody's different. Everybody's makeup's different. But if one person can get some relief, then I've done my mission as, first off, as a human being, but also as a soldier. So they can reach me by calling me at 916-719-9874. Again, 916-719-9874. They can always reach me on Facebook, Gerrard B. White, and you'll see me. I'm wearing a coat and tie. Or they can always reach me at my email address, which is GMANSJAVA at gmail.com. So that's basically gmansjava at gmail.com.
Okay, GMANS Java at gmail.com.
Correct.
Great. Well, now it's interesting. If I understand you right, what you have been taking, I'm very aware also of this arena. It's kind of a holistic approach to things, right? Only this one happens to be in coffee. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now this is interesting because you would think that something that is so pervasive and really can help people that you would want, people would want to get the word out. And I know that there's another avenue. You're getting off your medication. Now, if I heard you right, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, we are not making any claims that this cures anything because we can't. We just don't know. But at the same time, it's kind of interesting because a lot of these naturopathic ways as well as the holistic ways aren't necessarily supported. Why is that?
Basically because our way of medicine is old school. And besides, our country is a nation of pills. And you have pharmacies just pushing the pills on to the doctors, and they just write the prescriptions. Lots of times, I don't think the doctors, I'm not talking about surgeons, I'm talking about the average everyday doctor. I don't really think they do a lot of research on the background and the side effects of the pills. That's the biggest reason, I believe.
It's very interesting because I saw a few documentaries on TV, and they talk about how one of the interesting things that needs to happen when something happens to your body is you should really try to give it everything it needs to cure itself, right, or to fix itself, right? And it's very interesting because it made me think. They go, it's interesting when you go into the hospital. They pretty much take everything out, They pretty much give you something simple to eat, just things like Jell-O, and we're very familiar with that because there's always room for Jell-O, right? But it's interesting because you think about that. It's like a car without any fuel. You're really removing a lot of the things that have nutrients. And yet you're in a hospital because their whole idea is to sterilize everything and to not give the body anything that might have it react negatively. But at the same time, they remove everything that could possibly provide nutrients. That's what happens a lot of times when you're about ready to go into an operation or you're in the hospital for a prolonged period of time. But yet, what I hear you saying is giving the body proper nutrients or whatever it needs could actually help with certain things. In your case, it seemed to, after taking it, your PTSD, even though we can't make a direct correlation, seemed to have gotten better. Is that correct?
Correct. Exactly. And everybody that knows me has said the transformation was just unbelievable. I mean, before I used to have, outbursts and get very angry at things, and now it's just like, I still get angry. Of course, I'm a human being, but I don't have the noisy New Year's Eve mind. I have the quiet Christmas Day mind. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us here. And if you want to find out a little bit more just about how Gerrard had overcome certain things or some things that have helped him, not just the coffee, but other things, you can contact him again at gmanjava. That's GMANJAVA at gmail.com. That is
G-Man. It's an S in there, right?
With an S.
Oh, okay.
G-Man's Java.
G-Man's, that sounds so cool.
G-Man's Java at gmail.com.
All right. G-Man's, G-M-A-N-S-J-A-V-A at gmail.com. So thank you for joining us, Gerrard. And, I want to go ahead and also play this song. This was a song I wrote in 2014. It's something that I'll be working on to create a production to hopefully help it go viral, to help people just be aware that as we go ahead and age, I believe we go through a healing process. It's a lifelong process. And so as you go ahead and listen to the song, think about the people that you've run across, the people that you run into each and every day, possibly each and every minute, as you go ahead and walk the streets. So, listen to the words of this song, and we'll go ahead and cue this up. But think about, again, just what your life was meant to be as we go ahead and play this song.
Jim, I have to...
Okay.
I have this having trouble playing this song. I'm trying to cue it up.
All right. Well, this is a song again I wrote for Healings in Motion.
Let me see if I can play it through a different player. Hold on.
And I just wanted to mention that this song was written with the whole intent of moving the heart to think about what do you want your life to mean and be. And it's a very special song to me for a lot of different reasons. But as we go ahead and think about just the people that we have a chance to impact, the people that we have a chance to be around, we can think about the things that matter most to us. And so the song, again, was written in 2014. It was actually played in front of hundreds of people in a few different events here in Stockton. So as we go ahead and play the song, go ahead and think about the things that are really most important to you. So hopefully we can get this queued up here. And it's amazing how the songs can really make a difference for people. And so think about, again, the things that matter most to you. And over here in Stockton, we like to make sure that we share things that happen here, because I believe that things that happen here locally have global implications as well.
All right, Jim, we got it.
All right, so I want you to go ahead and listen to the words of this song. Hopefully you've been able to think about again, the things that matter most to you when it comes to just your life. And I love that song. That was originally written for an organization called Healings in Motion.
Yeah,
and you can find out
the theme song.
Yeah, it's the theme song, you know. And, you know, that whole song is all about taking action. And it's about reflecting, considering what is important to you and what difference you want to make. You have excuses, you have reasons why you can't get involved. But that one was written, of course, in a situation where I'm thinking about elderly people as my dad's memory is going. I think a lot about that. I've been through things in life, Don. You know, Governor Don's last few years, life has happened.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's how we roll with it. And so I'm actually starting a media production company along with V. Ellis, Caitlin Ellis, and Matthew Gilliam. And it's exciting. We actually were doing some filming here on the Mile. And
Yeah,
Governor
saw that.
Don, I know you're busy. We're going to be catching you as well on there. I know we have to get some time with you because you know what's going down in this town. You know what's going down in this town.
It's going down in the town.
But
no, I think it's great. I saw you out there doing some good filming, interviewing people on the Mile. Good stuff for the community.
You know, we had Tom Patty. We had some other just great people. Lisa Werlow here, Jerry Wolf. They provide a lot of the venues here on the Mile.
Yeah.
We had a chance to visit the Ave, Xenia as well. And then also
Shout out to
just
Xenia.
different people in the community. We ran into spontaneously Charlie, who actually is the founder of the Wing Chung Studio. Just right
good
across
old
the way.
Charlie. Yeah, everybody knows Charlie on the Mile.
Well,
yes.
you know, and
Shout
he's
out.
definitely a Wokstar in a lot of different ways.
Is he? What a good dude too.
You
Man,
know-
he's always helping people. I'm always seeing him carrying stuff back and forth. It don't matter if it's something to do. Charlie jumping in.
And you know, we had a chance to interview Harvey Jordan as well, and he is with the theatrical community out here. Does a lot of things here, raising the bar and standard for a theater production here. Looks like we might be able to work together on some things as well. But I'll tell you, we're doing a lot of coverage here to create what I call Wokumentary, and and we're going to be doing a special section on Lincoln Center and downtown Stockton. Here, of course, on the Mile.
Walk on the Mile.
Yeah, a walk on the Mile. That's what we've been doing, and. You know, it's really interesting. It's really interesting, Governor Don. You started this radio station just how many years ago did this specific radio station start?
Well, Stone Soup is the station that was originally in this location, and we merged with them last June. And of course, our group coming from Delta College, what we built over there. And so really, at its longest, you know, we're just still only a few years old. But here in this current iteration, less than 2 years old, we've been here for about 18 months, and able to really have a great impact on this community already. You know, I was telling you that just, I think it was yesterday or the other day. You know, we were so happy about reaching 5,000 people last December. And we thought, you know, I mean, because it's a great accomplishment. You know, there's 300,000 people in our community. If we could reach 5,000 of them, we felt really proud of that. Well, you know, and last month we reached over 100,000 people.
Over 100,000.
Most of them right here. Most of them right here in San Joaquin County in Stockton, over 95%. And so that's a lot of people now we're able to connect with and share this great content. And really, you know, more and more people are telling us, you know, hey, keep up the good work, and we support you. And you know, we have over 100 members now, and that's growing too as well. So if you're enjoying this content, if you enjoy what the Voice of Stockton is doing, it's super easy to be a member. Go to kxvs.org/join. If you just want to make a donation, kxvs.org/donate. There's a membership level for anyone. I mean, if you want to just donate, you know, right off the bat, you know, maybe you want to give us $20 a year if you can afford that, or $2 a month, automatically deducted. I mean, who would even notice that? So, you know, and if you would notice that, if you can't afford to contribute, there's other ways to help support what we're doing. We're doing great work in the community. Maybe you want to be a part of it. Maybe you want to volunteer. Maybe you want to donate your time and energy, or maybe you have material goods that we could use. You know, you see what we're doing here with this equipment. Somebody out there is saying, hey, man, I got these mics and these cameras, and I'm not using them. So, you know, or headphones or whatever. You know, whatever you think a community radio station would benefit from, we would benefit from. And, you know, we are 100% community supported, and that's how we've been able to grow 20 times in 1 year, 20 times over. And, you know, I mean, I don't think we'll grow 20 times more in the next year, but if we could double or triple what we did last year, and then keep that momentum going for the betterment of Stockton and San Joaquin County, then we're going to do it, and we really only could do it with your help, and that includes you, Jim.
You know, this is exciting because this station, bar none, is, I've mentioned this is a hub of the Stockton community. It reaches worldwide, of course, through Facebook and social media. I actually have a show on Money 105.5 FM on a major network there in Sacramento. But I love community radio, and just, man, Don, it was such an honor to be able to have you on there, interview you last week.
Yes.
And I want you to share. Your answer was just so great. Of course, I'm very involved in the community, but I want you to just share, what is the difference between community radio and just even national radio, or just different sorts of radio?
Well, if you've been listening along, if you follow us on Facebook and YouTube, you see that we're a place where we could actually have the conversations that need to be had. Commercial radio has to be supported by advertisement dollars, and it's a business for them. We're a nonprofit, and what we do is we raise funds by reaching out to the community and doing what's important to the community. So basically, the community is kind of like that's our census, that's our boss, that's our board, that's our clients, and that's our it's also our service providers. So with community radio, we don't have to worry about trying to sell you stuff. What we're trying to do is focus on our mission, which is to make our community better through more inclusive communication, and to do it sustainably, to do it in a way that can carry on. And really the only way to carry on community radio is to have community support. So where we, you might hear about an important issue, and you hear it on the radio or TV, and you might catch it for 8 seconds on TV and maybe 30 seconds on the radio, right? This is an important issue, and here's the answer. Bye. Mm-hmm. But the reality is most issues aren't that cut and dry, that black and white. They take some exploration, some conversation, some bridge building, some compromise, some exploration and research. And in order to really accomplish things in a real meaningful way, not just for election cycles and advertising cycles and tax cycles, but in order to do things with sustainability in mind, longevity in mind, we have to give these issues the attention they deserve. We got to talk about these things. For instance, the big controversy of this past year has been about the Advanced Peace initiative that Mayor Tubbs has proposed. It's had measures of success in other cities. It's had also it's had its own issues. So that's a great issue that we need to discuss. We need to talk about it. Some people call it cash for criminals.
Wow, but that's a pretty direct labeling of it.
Well, it's and what the intention of the program, as I study, is for cash for repentant criminals who aren't going to return to crime. Well,
okay.
Hey, there's a different way to look at it too. But the point is, we all have a lot of opinions, but none of us, or very few of us, have done the research necessary to validate even the opinions we have. So take your time out and get in the conversation. Take your time out to do some research and to look at it with an open mind. And we could reach an accord, find something that works. Maybe it's not going to be advanced peace. Maybe it is. But if we're not having open conversations with the intention to find solutions, then how can we better our situation? So community radio can be that powerful. Mm-hmm. And the Voice of Stockton has had the unique pleasure and high honor to be a part of opening these conversations up, to be part of making them everyday conversations. Our issues are important, and by supporting community radio, you make sure that those issues don't get drowned out by, trends and national, rumors or excitement, or, there's room for that, but we got to make sure we have room for what's going on in our community.
These are really important issues, and that's why a lot of the people here, Tom Patty actually has a show here, Christina Fagazi has a show here, Julie Dameron Brown, who's starting to run also this year for council, she has a show here. Of course, I have a show here as well, and I feel so blessed just to be able to help people get their word out. And I feel like, just to name a few organizations I'm directly associated with here, specifically in Stockton, I actually have kind of like a triangle here I get a chance to work with. I get a chance to work with a philanthropic organization, as I mentioned, Healings in Motion.
Yes.
They do a stroke awareness, brain health. They have a walk here, has hundreds of people, several hundreds of people that go at some of their primary events here. I actually run an event in the hospital on their behalf as well. Of course, with and you can find out more about them at healingsinmotion.org, by the way. And also with the chamber here, the Central Valley Asian American Chamber of Commerce. Try to say that fast 3 times.
No, you just say CVACC.
Yeah, CVACC, with Leslie Edmond, the executive director, and there.
Love you, Leslie.
Yeah, and there's just so many things that organization has done from a chamber point of view to reach out to people for commerce, reaching, in my mind, in my opinion, many of the different cultures intentionally, not just
bridge
happen
building.
to come back. Just happen to come together. But its strength is it's big enough to really have an impact, but yet small enough or intimate enough to be able to have those relationships within that chamber. It's really at the sweet spot there. And I know that that being here, part of the voice of Stockton as well, and radio, to help get the message out. I feel very complete from a point of view of being able to reach many cultures, being able to reach people fundamentally for the cause, and also helping be a part of a medium to help get the message out. I just feel like it's just phenomenal, just what is happening here, specifically in KXVS, but in Stockton, California specifically. And people that don't want to get involved, that choose not to get involved for a variety of reasons, I will tell you, it really is something that you need to consider, because we had Bill Cummins here. He is the founding pastor of Bear Creek Community Church last week. Again, the number one things that pulls people together, you know what that is, Governor Don? I don't know if you remember that.
Tell me.
The number one thing is serving together.
Oh, of course.
And so it's not about watching people serve, right? But, really, I was in the theater. I actually watched,
don't be a service spectator.
I actually watched The Greatest Showman. Incredible, incredible movie.
That was about P.T. Barnum?
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting.
And it's a musical.
Nice.
And it's interesting watching Hugh Jackman play a different role rather than, the Wolverine.
He's not Wolverine in this?
No, he's actually P.T. Barnum. And watching him sing, just all of a sudden break out in song.
He is super talented.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, pulling together people is really an art. Yeah. And that is where you draw close to people, is when you are out there serving side by side, not just watching. Like, I'll tell you, watching the movie, getting back to my point there, that was great. Yeah. But I will tell you, I guarantee you, the people that were in that movie with P.T. Barnum, that's where everything got pulled together.
They lived it.
Yeah. But the whole thing of what P.T. Barnum was all about, pulling together people that were probably viewed as quote unquote different or unfavorable in society, that's what pulled them close together, and that's what created the home. That's what we need to be. Hey, whether you're desirable, I'm one of the undesirable ones, but hey, they let me stay here anyway, and
to those who don't know what they're looking at, maybe you're undesirable, but that is a great point.
Absolutely.
There is a book that my son is trying to get me to read. It's called The Outliers, and I started into it a little bit, and it talks about an interesting idea. A lot of us who are we're different. We're different, and everyone is different. Everybody's an individual. But if you find yourself maybe as an outlier, maybe you have a unique perspective or those kind of things. Those things that make us diverse are the things that make us strong. And the reason why humanity is on top and will continue to be on top is because we have enough diversity that for every situation we got the right person or the right group of people to fit the bill. And even in extinction level events, that's happened several times in human history, we survive because of our diversity, because there's enough difference in the human family that we survive, we make it. And so that's something we need to appreciate more and more, not less and less. And you're right, Jim. When we come together, we can accomplish so much. And to come together in service, I could say that, you know, being a part of this station and serving our community has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life, and continues to be. And if you want to be a part of this, if you got some multimedia chops, if you used to be in broadcasting, if you used to run a radio station or a television station, or if you were in the commercial media and you're tired of that, if you want to come to the community side where you can really serve with pleasure and to help to really feel good about what you do here, and help us to also make this operation grow, because the community needs it, therefore it needs to be self-sufficient. And so we need people with experience out there who maybe you're out there, maybe you're retired and you want to get back to work. You know, they say people retire but they never quit, right? They keep going. So yeah, get involved with Voice of Stockton and community radio, and we'd love to have you. And for more information, you can visit us on the web. You can send us a message on Facebook. We're at KXVS Radio on Facebook. thevoiceofstockton.org on the web. You can call into the station and leave us a message, 209-467-4455. It's 467-4455 in the 209 area. Drop us an email, inbox at thevoiceofstockton.org. However you want to communicate with us, let's band together. Let's work together across all spectrums in our community. There's only two things we require: is mutual respect and love for our community. If you have that, we can work with you. And you, Jim, we were so glad to have you jump on board when you did. You started last year, but this year you really turned it on. You got your own program, and you've been doing so much to raise awareness for what we're doing. You know, you're building your seat, man. You're building it. And we're glad to have you at the table.
You know, the sign here says, join KXVS in the studio. It says, join KXVS. Let's make Stockton better together. And that is the real key. And I want to go ahead and give a shout out, you know, definitely Julie yes. Dameron Brown out there with her show. And then also Tom Patty as well. He has a Tom Patty show. Supervisor this Patty. Is Walk the Talk. And of course, we want to go ahead and give a shout out to the Latino part of the hashtag Latino. That is Betty Ramirez with, I hope I don't hack this up. You know, it's called Sabor Latino. Yes, is that right?
Yes.
And La Voz. Is that right?
That's right.
Is that how I say that?
That's it.
Okay, Betty, if you're listening to this, I hope I pronounced that right. So,
finally, Jim.
So I know, you know, but I'll tell you, between just us two, now there are many more people involved in the station.
Yes.
We cover a myriad of cultures. I can even say that right? Yeah. And so that's what English lessons in America can do for you. But I will tell you, going into next year, I'm turning it up again with helping people tell their story with Catapult Media Production, but also a very integral part of helping tell the story is KXVS, the voice of Stockton here. I'm also in Sacramento, and I just want to let you know, if you're listening to KXVS, we also have Shorty, or Adam Reyes. He is a professional comedian out there.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be at the Punchline tomorrow. If you want free tickets, give me a holler. You can go ahead and look me up at Jim T. Chong. Jim T. Chong, yes. We can give you some free complimentary entry tickets, and those are like $15 valued tickets. And
how do they hit you up? Through Facebook?
Well, yeah, they can hit me up through Facebook at Jim T Chong. And here's a catch. You know, some may say that you know, I'm working in conjunction with Adam that you have to vote for him, though. Okay, you have to vote for him because there is a money competition with the 9 other comedians. So that's why he's giving tickets. Some may say this might be a bribe.
No. This is for Shorty fans.
Yeah, Shorty fans.
Yes.
Shorty fans.
If you enjoy watching Shorty do his comedy,
that's right.
Adam, what's his name?
Adam Reyes.
Adam Reyes, which is that's a pretty cool name. That's his acting name. His comedy name is Shorty.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know what? But the whole thing is, some may say that he's trying to bribe you. I asked him what's this all about. He said, "Absolutely, I'm trying to bribe you. This is America. Absolutely, okay.
Oh, this is America.
$50 can buy your vote. Let's do it."
Hey, what's more American than buying votes?
That's right. That's right. But you know, come join me in Punchline. I'll actually be doing some media coverage there as well. And, you know, I will tell you, nothing is better than to get involved. And that's what we are all about in KXVS. Yes. And as we go ahead and conclude this show, we want to give a big shout out to Stockton, California. Woo. Those of you that are here listening, because really it's about the community here. things that happen here have global implications. And so as we move forward and think about America, we want to be able to make America stronger. I know I want to do my part. Governor Don, do you want to do your part?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you know, this is phenomenal. I'm doing what we call a walkumentary. You may see me doing some coverage around here. But if you want to be a part of that, please go ahead and contact me. Again, you can contact me just by messaging me at Jim_T_Chong. I am here in Stockton, California, a few times out of the week, and so think about again this year, and I just realized this is actually our last show for the year here. Yeah. And so we want to wish you a happy new year. I want to go ahead and thank also Big City Nightlife. I know we're going to be building some things here for Stockton Nightlife as well, and that is with Eileen Kelly. And for those of you that are listening, for those of you that are doing big things in the community, small things, but you're doing something in the community, I will tell you, everything starts with a spark, and that's what ignites the flame. So we want to go ahead and thank you for a great year. And going into this next year, we want you to think about what will you do with your American dream. This is Jim T. Chong, the Wokstar, along with Governor Don, ending out strong 2017 and going ahead and creating the foundation for 2018. Governor Don, we appreciate what you do here for the station.
Love you, Jim.
And, you know, we love you, man. We love you.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Yeah, and we hope to see you out on the Miracle Mile doing your thing. This is Jim T. Chong, the Wokstar, with Walk the Talk here in KXVS, the voice of Stockton.